What's up, everybody? Welcome to the pickups of April 2019. It was a crazy month. Of course, we had the Midwest Gaming Classic happen. It was a great time. I got to see a lot of people I don't normally see, including a trade that I did with Vita, which I'll actually do here in just a moment. We're going to jump into things, but first, I want to take you on a ride. Of course, naturally, that means I got a copy of Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Not any copy, a copy that I actually used to own some time ago that I ended up having to sell due to some financial reasons. And it came back around. My buddy Matt was really awesome enough that he got this bundle, and he happened to have an extra copy of this laying around. And that is for the Xbox, Marvel vs. Capcom 2. It is complete, which is nice. Pretty cool version. This one was kind of interesting because back in the day, this does have, I want to say it had online support. No, it doesn't. I'm thinking of the PlayStation 2 version, which had like some strange online support, which is really crazy. But that was kind of cool. It's my only Xbox, and probably the only Xbox pickup I've had in some time for the original. So that was kind of exciting. And then Matt also handed me, I guess Greg was throwing out a bunch of his stuff and he didn't want it, so there was some unique Saturn stuff that he ended up saving for me. First we have a demo disc with a free Panzer Dragoon game sampler. Don't have one of these. I haven't really thrown it in to really see what's on here, so I can't really tell you much other than it's just a sampler of Panzer Dragoon. So that's kind of cool because you don't see those demo discs very often. And then there's also a copy of Virtua Fighter 2, which I didn't have the long box version. Of course, the front cover is cracked off and broken, but I have the original instruction manual, and it's in fairly good shape. And then, of course, the game. And then the back cover art for it is there still intact. So I'm hoping when they come around, when they have more of those produced repros of the Saturn cases, I'll have to end up replacing that with this, which I'm looking forward to, so I can put it with the rest of my Saturn games. For the Midwest Gaming Classic pickup now, I only picked up one thing. I was kind of trying to hold on and not go crazy. There was a couple games I really wanted. I tried to get a copy of Darkstalkers on the PlayStation 1, the jewel case version. I have the long box version, which is kind of behind me. You won't be able to see it, I don't think. But it's back in the case with my Darkstalkers stuff. But it was kind of unique. The guy, unfortunately, was asking a little higher than what it normally goes for according to like price charting and even eBay. And I tried to talk him down, but he wouldn't budge. So I kind of walked away. I was like, it's not really worth spending that for a jewel case version, especially since I already have the game in a long box version and digitally, and I have the original game in arcade. So it was just one of those, hey, I like Darkstalkers stuff and I want it for my Darkstalkers collection. So I walked away. But I did pick up a copy of Sega Rally 1995 for the Japanese Sega Saturn. This is about a little bit better than the US version. I'm hoping to find the Sega Rally Plus version, which is the more complete package that was released later on in Japan for the Sega Saturn. That one has all the bug fixes and everything. It wasn't as rushed as the US version was. So this is next to the best, I guess, for the Saturn, but it was one that was highly recommended to me to picking up. Apparently it's one that if you're a Saturn fan that you shouldn't be without. So I have that, and we'll probably give that a try sometime on stream for the fun of it. That's pretty much it for the retro stuff, aside from the trade I did with Vita Gamer. I ended up trading 3 DS games that I was trying to get rid of in return for this really interesting Dreamcast fight stick. This is by Interact with a chrome body. The cable is actually inside on the back here. You remove this and you pull it out, which is kind of neat. It's got a nice little design for it. The VMU goes in the top. The unique thing about this stick, after doing some research on it, these are kind of rip-off buttons. I mean, they feel like the same, but I haven't torn this down yet to really see what's on the inside. They have what feels like a micro switch in it, but I'm not 100% sure if it's just It's more than likely got a pad underneath, and it connects to the PCB underneath. I'm not sure on that, but the thing is the layout. So with the Dreamcast controller, actually I have one here at the side, you have the 4 face buttons. With this, you have kind of the modern layout that you see on most arcade sticks these days. However, your A, B, X, and Y buttons are the middle buttons. These are actually your trigger buttons, so you have trigger buttons on both sides. You also have a turbo button in the middle here that you can activate, and the unique thing is there's another button here on the stick itself. And this feels like a grommet type micro switch stick, but again, I'm not sure. I haven't torn it down yet. Not sure if I really will. It's just a very unique item, and I haven't really seen one of these before. And when VigiGamer reached out to me, he's like, I have no room for it. It's really cool, but he's like, since there's no way to easily store it, he just wanted to kind of get rid of it because it was sitting around his place for a while. So now I have one of these, which again is a unique item. So I'll stick it with the rest of my arcade stick collection, and maybe give it a try and see how that works. So I'm kind of excited to give that a shot. Along with that, with the Marvel vs. Capcom game, Matt also, in a box, he was tired of staring at it, but he got a black Sega Sports Dreamcast. Now, I already had I have one of these currently. I had 2, which I ended up selling to a buddy. But I was always interested in trying to get another, just because these black Dreamcasts are not easy to come by. They do fetch a higher price than a normal white Dreamcast. This one's in kind of a really worn condition. Matt wasn't even sure it actually worked. I did test it. It does work. It's very loud. It needs some serious cleaning. It's gunked up on the front. It looks like it was almost dropped. The top lid of this is kind of off just a little bit. I'm going to see if I can kind of correct that. But I'm going to end up tearing this thing down, cleaning it out, kind of trying to see if I can maybe get rid of some of these scratches on the bottom, and just see if I can maybe oil up the GD-ROM a bit. If it seems to read games just fine. It may turn into another project for me. I don't know. I'm really interested in trying to get that GD-EMU, where you can use the SD cards and replace some of the worn-out lasers that are starting to kind of go on some of my Dreamcasts, unfortunately. But we'll see how that goes. More Sega-related stuff. I did manage to pick up some of the Retro-Bit controllers. I kind of showed this off in a stream I did. This is the Sega Genesis. This is connected actually currently to my original Genesis Model 2. And it's great. It feels just like an original 6-button pad. The precision is great on it. I actually ended up doing a whole stream where I did a 1-credit run of Sonic 3, where no death, basically, and I got all Chaos Emeralds and all that good stuff, which was really nice, and that's really cool. I'm pretty happy with this. And I had to get the blue one just because I love transparent controllers. You don't see those very often. And then along with it, I decided to try the USB version of the Sega Saturn pad. I haven't had an opportunity to actually play this in a game yet, and haven't really gotten around to it. But compared to the older controllers, these are actually really nice. And I think the buttons feel a little bit better. I'm not sure if you can hear that. But that's the new controller, and then I have the original Saturn one, which is kind of more mushy. Clicks a little bit different too. But otherwise, it feels exactly the same. I'm going to try to pick up a actual Saturn version of the controller, just so that way I can play that on some of my streams that I do with Megavisions. I'm currently playing through Magic Knights Rares for like the 4th time I've owned the game. It's kind of a fun little anime cutesy game. It was the last game released for the Saturn. It's an RPG game. So that's kind of cool. Last Dreamcast thing I got. I do owe Matt for this too. A Dreamcast carrying bag. Always wanted one of these. Finally came across one. The only annoying thing is that actually they threw in 2 VMUs, and I have more than enough VMUs. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I have 15 VMUs sitting in front of me right now. They're stacked up. If you've seen my Twitter account, I posted a picture of it and in some Discord chats just for laughs. But it's ridiculous how many VMUs I have right now. It's crazy, and I know this isn't all of them. I've got a couple inbox up there still, and a couple more in another room. It's insane. I probably have close to 20 memory cards or VMUs for the Dreamcast. It's nuts. But now I have an actual carry case, so I can store my Dreamcast in here and take it with me if I go to tournaments or whatever, and it's nice and secure and safe. So I'm excited. Of course, there's the front pouch for controllers and games inside. The actual system sits inside, and then there's a back pouch for games, miscellaneous cables, and so forth. So I was really excited to find this. It has a nice carrying strap for it and everything. So that's really cool. But yeah, Dreamcast carrying case. Alright, moving on to more modern stuff. I ended up snagging or importing the Psycho Collection Volume 2. Really excited about this. I wanted to get a physical version simply because I really wanted to play Gunbird 2. The copy I have on Dreamcast is currently sealed, so I wanted to give that a shot, as well as play the Tengai game, which is actually really fun as well. Big into shooters, so I preferred the Volume 2 over Volume 1 just because I like the games on it better. I'm looking forward to Volume 3 coming out later this month, I want to say. I'm hoping to grab that copy too. Would love to have that to kind of get the last two volumes because I really liked what the games in the third one had to offer as well. Then I also ended up looking for a copy of this game, which I have on the PlayStation 4 already, but this is Blade Strangers, fighting game by Nicalis. And the interesting thing that I found out about this game, there's actually 3 different color variants. There's this character, the other character from Cave Story, and then Umihara from Sayonara Umihara, another character who's in this game that makes a appearance. So there's those 3 covers. I'm kind of thinking of maybe trying to find the other 2, but they're really uncommon. Like, none of my GameStops nearby have them in stock. I managed to find this at Best Buy. They only had 2 copies in, and it was the same cover. The PlayStation 4 version I have is the one with Umihara on the front cover. We'll see what it comes with. This also came with a different keychain than the PlayStation 4 version had. And I don't know how many different keychains there were, if there were each one of the characters on the front cover or what. But just something interesting to keep a lookout for if you're a Nintendo Switch collector and you're looking for the variant covers. Those are out there. There's the 3. So. And then the single PlayStation 4 game is a limited run game. We're starting to get into most of the limited run stuff now. This is Roihime Enbu Ryo Rai Rai. Mouthful. This is an all-female fighting game based around some Japanese-era classic characters. A lot of gender bending, I guess. I haven't had a chance to play it, but I thought it was interesting. I love fighting games, of course, so I wanted to snag it as it was only on the PlayStation 4. Kind of a unique thing. I actually saw this when it was released in Japan, and I thought about importing it. I'm glad I kind of held off on it, just because I thought it was an interesting game and wanted to give it a shot. So now I have that, so this will be going in my PlayStation 4 once I get through some of my other games that I'm working through. Now for the Vita stuff. Let's go ahead and start an order here from the lowest number to the highest number. We have King of Fighters 97. Again, another classic fighting game. I've been on an SNK kick too lately. So I was really excited when they announced this. I didn't get the collector's edition, even though the shock box really looked interesting, but I'm kind of expecting them to come out with with more SNK games. I'm expecting probably Last Blade 2, Mark of the Wolves, and probably Metal Slug X or XX. Those were released on the digital stores for Vita, PS4, and Xbox One. I'm kind of expecting those later on down the road, and more than likely, the one I'm more excited about is probably Garou, Marker of the Wolves, and Last Blade 2. For sure, I hope I'm able to, if they do a collector's edition for those, to get those. I really enjoyed Garou a lot more than King of Fighters 97. 98 and 99 were the ones that I played the most, aside from King of Fighters 11, which came on later for the Atomic Wave. So this one I wasn't so keen on. Again, this really isn't my favorite King of Fighters, but it was a King of Fighters game, and it's on the Vita. Okay. And I believe this is also playable on the PlayStation TV, so that's a plus. Next we have Iconoclast. This is a sort of Metroidvania game, I guess. It looked really interesting. This is one I'm kind of curious to try. There was a lot of people talking about it, how it was a fairly decent game. So I'm going to give it a shot. Next we have Fern's Gate, a RPG by Kemco. This one I wasn't too excited for. It looks like your basic turn-based RPG type thing. Yeah, I mean, nice cover and all, but I don't know if I'm going to jump the gun and play that very soon. Another one I'm kind of about, Proteus on the Vita. I don't know, it seems like another walking simulator to me. I can't really tell. I'm not going to talk about it too much. Another meh, Spelunky. Kind of a platforming, weird game. Another one I really had no interest in, but it's physical. Another RPG by Kemco. Chronos Arc. Another, it looks very much like the old classic Final Fantasy games, more turn-based stuff. Kind of in a 8-bit style. Yeah. And last, the one I'm most excited for, I actually backed this on Kickstarter for the Vita physical for the, it's currently coming out for Xbox, PS4, and Switch. This was a mini game that they made to give fans, and that's Curse of the Moon. And I did get a digital version of this on the Vita. Sadly, the other one is not coming anymore physically, at least so far. I don't know, I'm kind of thinking East Asia Soft may give a physical release on the Vita. That'll be interesting to get. But the funny thing is this kind of came, well, I wouldn't say damaged in the mail, but it was ripped open. I'm not sure if you can see here, my camera focused. You can kind of see the plastic here. So, no point in keeping this sealed. We're going to do an opening right here. Since I already own it digitally anyway, I don't know, I'm not concerned about keeping these sealed too much. Some people are probably going to shout at me. I don't care. It's my game. Keep yours sealed if you want. So, it is now opened. What do we got inside? Nothing. Kind of expected something. There's no reversible cover. And no instruction manual, but we have the card inside. So, pretty art card. And my camera's horrible, so it's not going to really focus at all. But yeah, Curse of the Moon! I'm excited for this. Then lastly, this I thought was kind of interesting. They're doing a reprint of this. The next sequel is actually coming out in a couple days, which I hope to grab. This actually had more prints than the original print run. That is Retro City Rampage DX. This is an alternate cover. The original cover had a black background, and you had the DeLorean and all that in it. I should have grabbed it before I started recording this so I can kind of show you a comparison of them. Of course, at the top it says it's PlayStation TV compatible. The other one did not have that, so I don't know if this is going to be more sought after than the other one, which was released back in 2015. I'm not entirely sure on that. The back cover is pretty much the same. I think the other one had a little something at the top that was different. And of course it says it's PlayStation TV compatible and so forth on that. But I just thought it was unusual that they did a reprint of this. I think there was 3,300 copies of this particular run made, whereas the earlier 2015 copy there was only like 3,000 copies. So there's actually 300 copies less of the old one. I'm not sure what that's going to do as far as people clamoring for which one they want more. For me, it was just, okay, they have an alternate cover and it says it's PlayStation TV compatible. I'm not sure if the original one was or not, and that made me a big difference where this one might be the one that you're going to want more if that's the case. And this is the only version that is compatible with the PlayStation TV. I'm not entirely sure. But it's going to be interesting, and I'm not one to predict which is going to be worth more or which is going to be more sought after or rare, uh, especially when it comes to Vita these days. It was just a goal that I set for myself. I'm like, hey, I really like the Vita. It was great for my job at the time when I got it, that I was traveling all the time. And it gave me that console experience, so I wasn't, I could easily play PlayStation 3-ish type games and still get a good experience and get some of my gaming fix in while I was sitting in a hotel doing nothing. So, and I just kind of stuck with it, because I was like, well, I got the early limited run games already hard to get now. I might as well keep going. It's been more of a burden than anything. I thought it was rough doing the Dreamcast stuff, but the Vita stuff is turning out to be even harder, especially when you have to keep track of like strictly limited run games, the super rare games. I mean, all these limited edition um, games coming out from all over the world. I would hate to be a completionist and try to go for like all the East Asia soft, Asian English releases, all of the Japanese exclusives that we're never going to get, and curse you, Atlas, for not giving us a physical version of Catherine Full Body on the Vita. Thankfully, it is coming to the PlayStation 4 in the West. I will be getting that. Catherine was one of my favorite puzzle games of that generation. And I really enjoyed the more mature story of it. It actually reminded me of some stuff that I had gone through in the past. I was engaged once, but that's a whole personal thing, another story I don't even want to share. Anyway, I'm getting off track. So, that's actually the end of what I have for April. This video is probably going on way too long, and listening to me is probably driving everybody crazy. So we're going to wrap it up here. We'll see how May goes. It's going to be interesting with some of the Vita releases coming out. I don't know what else Limited Run has coming down the line. And we've got a few Sega games coming out. I think Sonic Racers are coming out this month as well. So another interesting one. Anyway, that's it for now. As always, I thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.